Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can touch. The world teaches you to compete in the theater of morality, but that stage is built to keep you distracted. Virtue becomes a velvet mask, hiding the iron hand that truly moves history. You are told to fight for appearances, to polish the shine of your reputation, while the ruthless advance on the battlefield where only results matter. Morality is used as a leash to keep lions tame, but a lion that accepts the leash starves, while the wolf without one hunts freely. Look at the way institutions operate. Corporations present slogans of equality and justice, while building empires on efficiency and profit. Politicians speak of virtue, then maneuver with ruthless calculation because power demands outcomes, not declarations. Media narratives magnify this illusion, rewarding those who appear moral rather than those who create tangible victories. This is the trap. If you compete on morality, you fight a battle with no end, judged by shifting standards that you will never fully control. Imagine a field of soldiers arguing about honor codes, while one general silently maneuvers around them, cutting supply lines and capturing territory. The debating soldiers lose not because they lacked virtue, but because they confused discussion for dominance. In life, you cannot afford that mistake. You cannot waste your force proving moral worth, while others secure the resources, opportunities, and positions that decide power. The strategy is clear. Stop defending your image and start sharpening your edge. Results speak longer than moral posturing, because outcomes rewrite the record. If you achieve, detractors fade. If you fail, no moral defense will save you. Shift from weak, "I am good, trust me," to strong, "I am undeniable, see my results." Shift from weak, "I want to be respected for intention," to strong, "I demand recognition for impact." Shift from weak, "I play by the rules of virtue," to strong, "I play by the rules of victory." The enemy is false morality, a chain designed to keep you from moving. Break it now. Focus on what you build, not what you proclaim. Measure yourself not by how virtuous you look, but by how much ground you gain. Let every move prove itself. The mantra is simple: do not compete on morality, compete on results. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That line cuts through centuries because it exposes a timeless trap, the mind enslaved by debate instead of ruled by clarity. Your mind is the true throne. Every empire you will ever build begins here. If the throne inside is occupied by weakness, by obsession with how others judge you, then no crown placed on your head will hold. If the throne inside is firm, ruled by discipline and results, then even in poverty or exile you remain sovereign. People who obsess over moral approval resemble courtiers begging for nods of acceptance. They bend, flatter, and explain, hoping their reputation will protect them. Yet history remembers those who acted, not those who begged for virtue points. One man argues endlessly about what is fair, while another quietly builds systems that last. One group spends years polishing their image, while another captures markets, land, or influence. Which throne holds more weight? The inner one that commands outcomes. Think of the weak prince. He sits on a golden chair, but listens to the whispers of moral priests who tell him to act gently, to never offend, to always justify his worth. Each whisper chains him further until his rule becomes paralysis. Now imagine the strong prince. He silences those voices. He does not discard virtue, but he refuses to be ruled by it. His court is not filled with chatter about appearances. It is filled with results. Fortresses built, enemies repelled, wealth secured. The difference is not circumstance, but sovereignty of mind. You must claim your own throne the same way. Stop handing your crown to the opinions of others. Guard your court from intruders who seek to tell you how good you look instead of how strong you stand. When challenged, hold your ground without anger. If someone demands you prove your goodness, respond calmly. I will prove myself by what I build. That is the answer of a sovereign. Do not argue for recognition. Command it by achievement. Do not drown in the shifting tides of moral judgment. Anchor yourself in clear outcomes. The mind is throne, the throne is power, and the sovereign is the one who refuses to be ruled by external approval. The mantra is simple: rule your mind or be ruled by others. Each morning is a battlefield. The hour you wake is the hour war begins, not against armies outside, but against weakness within. At dawn, your willpower is sharp, your discipline full, your judgment clear. Psychology shows that self-control and decision strength decline as the day progresses. By night, you are drained, distracted, and more likely to surrender to comfort. This means the first hours are not optional. They are decisive terrain, the high ground of the day. Whoever controls that ground controls the battle. Consider two soldiers at dawn. One draws his sword immediately, moving forward with purpose. The other lingers, debating, checking the crowd, looking at the noise of others. In modern life, that second soldier is the person who opens social media, consumed by arguments about morality and virtue, feeding on outrage before even standing tall. They waste their sharpest energy on proving they are good, rather than building something strong. By noon, their reserves are gone. Meanwhile, the first soldier has already advanced miles, securing victories while others argue in the dust. The contrast is brutal. You either seize the morning or you lose momentum all day. Discipline in the first hours builds sovereignty over yourself. Begin by striking directly at your highest task, not your easiest distraction. Write, train, study, build, whatever forges results. Do not argue for approval at sunrise. Command your battlefield by movement. Weak. I need to warm up with small things. Strong. I conquer my first task at once. Weak. I'll check in with others first. Strong. I lead myself before hearing noise. This framing matters because the language you use is the sword you wield. Sometimes, someone close to you will challenge this. They may say, "Why are you so rigid in the morning? Do you think discipline makes you better?" Hold your ground calmly. Respond without anger. I value momentum more than debate. This disarms opposition without wasting energy. You do not need to defend your method. You only need to keep advancing. Treat dawn as sacred terrain. Do not trade it for chatter, distraction, or the shallow wars of image. Use your sharpest hours to build the foundation of results that will carry the rest of your day. The morning is not routine. It is war. Enter it with clarity, act with force, and claim the high ground before it slips away. The mantra is simple: seize the morning, seize the throne. Silence is a weapon sharper than noise. In a world where people rush to declare their virtue, your advantage comes from restraint. The strategist Sun Tzu advised that strength lies in concealing intention and striking when unseen. When others shout their morality to be noticed, they reveal their position. When you hold still, you preserve energy, focus thought, and create surprise. The battlefield is not always won by the loudest. It is won by the one who chooses when to move. Think of how this plays out in modern life. In negotiations, the one who fills every silence with chatter is at a disadvantage. The calm counterpart, who waits, controls the tempo. In business, the loud leader who seeks praise burns energy defending image, while the quiet builder accumulates leverage through results. In personal conflict, Silence often diffuses attacks more effectively than arguments. Words can be twisted, but stillness cannot be misquoted. By refusing to compete in moral noise, you force the world to measure you by outcomes, not claims. The predator metaphor makes this clear. The lion roars to prove dominance, shaking the ground but also warning prey. The panther hunts without sound, unseen until the strike, feeding while others waste strength. Do not confuse volume with victory. You are strongest when your silence hides the edge of your blade until the moment you decide to act. Weak, I must explain myself to seem good. Strong, I will remain silent and let results speak. Weak, I need to join the noise. Strong, I choose when to strike. If someone challenges your silence, asking why you don't join the debate, answer calmly, I conserve my energy for what matters. This turns their pressure into your ground of control. You do not owe constant explanation, and you do not need to match their volume. Authority is not proven by how many words you speak, but by what your actions make undeniable. Weaponize stillness. Guard your intentions, sharpen your edge, and resist the pull to roar for approval. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Speak less, act more, and let results cut through the noise. The mantra is simple: silence is my sword. Machiavelli observed that a prince is often forced to act against faith, against charity, against humanity. That was not an endorsement of cruelty, but a recognition that survival and power demand choices harsher than ideals. If you wish to rise, you must learn the art of elimination. Cut the moral distractions that drain energy. Refuse to be pulled into endless debates that prove nothing. Your throne is not built by words about goodness, but by results that endure. In history, innovators have been branded immoral, reckless, or dangerous. They were attacked not because of failure, but because they threatened comfort. The railroads faced outrage for destroying old ways, yet they redefined commerce. Early pioneers in technology were condemned as irresponsible, but their inventions reshaped how billions live. The pattern is clear: moral attacks often arrive first, results follow after. Those who endure the storm of condemnation without folding become the builders remembered. Imagine the court of a king. Around him, advisors whisper, "Virtue first, show your goodness, delay the hard decision." If he listens, his enemies advance, his fortress crumbles, his people suffer. If he cuts these whispers, leaving only generals who fight and win, he preserves the realm. Ruthless elimination is not cruelty to others, it is mercy to yourself and to the mission that depends on you. To delay because of image is to sacrifice results on the altar of approval. When someone challenges you, asking why you cut away distractions so sharply, answer without heat, "I value progress over noise." This response is not arrogance, it is clarity. You do not attack their choice, you simply declare your own. Calm leadership lies in focusing on outcomes, not in wrestling endlessly with perceptions. Language reveals your stance. Weak, "I cannot, it would not look good." Strong, "I will not, it does not serve results." Weak, "I don't want to seem harsh." Strong, "I must stay precise." Each phrase is either a chain or a blade. Choose the blade. Do not mistake elimination for cruelty. It is discipline. It is clearing the court, so only strength remains. You do not need to compete with those who live for moral applause. You need to command results that cannot be ignored. Cut swiftly, cut cleanly, and guard your throne from voices that weaken resolve. The mantra is simple: eliminate noise, preserve power. Machiavelli wrote that it is unnecessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but very necessary to appear to have them. That single principle is the mask of command. Outward morality is armor, Inward strategy is steel. You must master both. If you discard the mask, you invite suspicion, resistance, and attack. If you wear the mask without the steel beneath, you collapse when tested. True power is balance, the face of virtue, the hand of calculation. The chessboard is the perfect metaphor. Pawns stand in neat formation, presenting order, duty, and virtue. But behind them, the queen moves with ruthless freedom, striking at angles no pawn can predict. The mask of command is that pawn formation, orderly, moral, convincing. The true strategy is the queen's power, hidden until unleashed. If you try to play without pawns, you are exposed. If you try to win with pawns alone, you lack force. You must have both, the appearance of morality and the substance of strategy. Do not confuse this with dishonesty. The mask is not a lie, it is a tool. You are not required to reveal every motive or tactic. You are required to deliver results that justify your position. Weak, I must show everything so no one doubts me. Strong, I show what stabilizes trust, and I act where results demand. Weak, if I look moral, I must be moral in every move. Strong, I appear moral to protect my hand, but I play to win. These are not excuses, they are survival. When someone confronts you for wearing the mask, when they accuse you of being too guarded, respond without hostility. Say, I focus on outcomes, not appearances. This answer affirms your ground without tearing theirs. Calm authority is stronger than defensive chatter. Master the mask of command. Use it to shield yourself from attacks that seek to weaken you before you strike. Project virtue when it stabilizes the field. Hide steel beneath so you can win when the moment arrives. The mantra is simple. Wear the mask, wield the blade. Hesitation is a traitor. It disguises itself as morality, whispering that you should wait, that you should seek more approval, that you should avoid offending anyone. But hesitation is weakness, and weakness cannot sit on a throne. To rule yourself, you need an inner assassin, a shadow within your court that eliminates the enemies of clarity, guilt, doubt, and fear of disapproval. Without that assassin, every step is delayed, every strike blunted. Psychology shows this clearly. There is an effect called moral licensing. When people believe they have acted in a good way, they often relax their discipline. A person who donates to charity in the morning might indulge recklessly later that day, justifying it by the earlier act. The same happens in work and ambition. If you cling to the identity of being good, you risk becoming lazier in discipline, slower in execution, weaker in resolve. The mask of morality can trick you into sparing habits that should be killed. Look at entrepreneurs who built breakthroughs. Their rise often required cutting self-doubt and public opinion. If they listened to every voice warning about morality, image, or risk, they would have frozen. Instead, they eliminated hesitation. They silenced guilt when it tried to restrain their ambition. They treated fear of disapproval as a traitor to be executed quietly. This is the assassin within, the one who clears the court so strategy can move without obstruction. Picture the throne room. Around you stand advisors of fear, guilt, and hesitation, each dressed in the robes of morality. They say, wait, appear nicer, avoid offense. Keep explaining yourself, but in the shadows, your assassin moves. One by one, he removes these traitors, leaving silence and strength. Now your decisions are sharper, your movements are direct, your throne is secure, not because you were moral enough, but because you eliminated what made you weak. Language shows the divide. Weak, I feel guilty, so I'll delay. Strong, I feel pressure, but I'll act anyway. Weak, I don't want to seem selfish. Strong, I must protect momentum. Each swap is the assassin's blade. Do not fear the inner assassin. He is your protector. He does not kill your humanity. He kills your hesitation. Without him, you serve others' approval. With him, you rule your own court. The mantra is simple. Kill weakness before it kills you. Inside you, two wolves fight. One craves approval, begging for recognition, hungry for likes, applause, and validation. The other craves strength, hungry for power, for results that endure beyond claps and compliments. Whichever wolf you feed becomes your fate. If you feed the wolf of approval, you live on scraps thrown by others. If you feed the wolf of strength, you rule by the results you create. Neuroscience shows the difference. The brain rewards you with dopamine when others praise you. A compliment or a digital like lights up the same pathways as sugar or drugs. The hit feels good, but fades quickly, leaving you weaker and dependent. Achievement, however, produces deeper, more sustainable satisfaction. Completing a hard task, building something lasting, or overcoming a challenge creates reward signals that strengthen confidence instead of draining it. One is fleeting, the other compound. The choice is not abstract, it is chemical, and it shapes the throne of your mind. Modern life makes this battle harder. Social media is designed to feed the weak wolf. Every scroll invites you to beg for attention, to measure worth in shallow signals. Arguments online pull you into endless moral wars where appearance matters more than results. This is the dog chained in the marketplace, barking loudly for scraps of approval. Meanwhile, those who starve that dog and feed the wolf of strength quietly build empires, reputations, and wealth that no algorithm can erase. The predator metaphor is absolute. The lion that roars for attention exposes itself, wasting energy to be noticed. The panther stalks silently, conserving strength until the decisive strike, and then feeds fully. You cannot afford to feed the begging dog within you. Approval is never enough. Results are always respected. Weak. I need to be liked. Strong. I need to be effective. Weak. I hope they notice me. Strong. They cannot ignore what I build. Language is fuel. Choose the words that sharpen hunger for strength, not applause. If someone accuses you of being too focused on results, of not caring enough about appearances, respond calmly. I care more about building than being seen. This is not rejection of morality, it is rejection of dependence. You are not starving your humanity. You are starving the part of you that waits for permission to act. Feed the wolf that hunts. Starve the dog that begs. The battle is fought every day, with every choice of attention and effort. Do not surrender your throne to approval. Secure it with results that roar louder than any words. The mantra is simple. Feed strength, starve approval. Life is not judged in courts of morality, but on the chessboard of strategy. Every move is weighed by the position it creates, not by the intention behind it. History makes this truth undeniable. Alexander was not remembered for asking if conquest was virtuous, but for building an empire that stretched across continents. Napoleon was not measured by the purity of his ideals, but by the battles he won and the systems he imposed across Europe. Bismarck was not celebrated for moral debates, but for unifying Germany through cold calculation. Their names endure because they played for results, not applause. The same law rules modern life. Careers advance not by intention, but by output. A worker can claim they tried hard, but the promotion goes to the one who delivered. Businesses thrive not by promising fairness, but by executing strategies that secure markets. In negotiations, it is not the person who appeared most kind who wins, but the one who walked away with the best terms. Results define respect. Sentiment fades with time, but outcomes carve the record. The chessboard metaphor is exact. Pawns pray for justice, hoping the board will reward their virtue, but pawns do not decide the game. The king maneuvers carefully, protecting his crown. The queen strikes with force, unpredictable, merciless when needed. Each piece has value only in how it shifts position, controls space, and threatens victory. If you play chess by sentiment, you lose. If you play by strategy, you command. Life follows the same rule. Do not waste your energy proving purity of motive. Command by positioning yourself where results cannot be denied. Weak, I meant well. Strong, I secured the objective. Weak, I tried my best. Strong, I delivered the outcome. Language is not decoration. It reveals whether you play as a pawn or as a strategist. When confronted by someone who argues that intention is enough, hold steady, say calmly, intentions matter, but results decide. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. It allows you to focus on what builds power instead of what merely builds sympathy. Sympathy is fragile. Power endures. You must treat every choice like a move on the board. Conserve your pieces, protect your crown, and strike when advantage is clear. Sentiment may ease the conscience, but strategy secures the throne. The mantra is simple: play for position, not for pity. Morality changes with culture, but disciplined focus and results endure across centuries. What one era calls virtuous, another calls corrupt. What one people worship as sacred, another dismisses as weakness. If you tie your power to shifting moral codes, you become a servant to fashion. But if you anchor yourself to results, you stand on stone while others sink in sand. The way to achieve this is not by chance or bursts of inspiration. It is through ritual, daily practices that forge will into steel and make achievement inevitable. Psychology confirms this. Habits form loops. Cue, action, reward. What you do repeatedly becomes automatic, requiring less effort to maintain. This is how discipline evolves into identity. If you establish rituals that point to results, you turn willpower into machinery. You no longer fight every morning to choose. The choice is already made, embedded into your life. A soldier does not ask if he will train. He trains because the ritual is carved into his being. An athlete does not debate whether to show up. The habit is the altar he bows to. Look at elite performers. Athletes who rise to dominance do not worship morality. They worship results. Military units that endure hardship do not measure themselves by comfort, but by effectiveness. Their rituals are not designed to make them look good in the eyes of others. They are designed to sharpen edge, stamina, and precision. While the world debates virtue, these individuals march, lift, study, and strike. The results become their religion, and the discipline is their prayer. Imagine yourself forging a sword every morning at the altar of results. Each repetition of focus, each disciplined act, adds another layer of steel. You do not stop to ask if others approve of your forge. You do not pause to check if the crowd likes the sound of your hammer. You strike because the ritual makes you unbreakable. Weak, I hope to stay consistent. Strong, I ritualize consistency until it cannot be broken. Weak, I try when I feel inspired. Strong, I act daily regardless of mood. This is the difference between wishing and ruling. If someone mocks your devotion, saying you are too rigid, answer with calm authority. My rituals protect my power. This is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. You are not enslaved by ritual, you are freed by it. Ritual eliminates doubt, conserves energy, and places you on the throne of your own mind. Do not pray for approval. Forge your altar in discipline, make results your religion. Each act is a hammer strike. Each strike builds the sword. Each sword secures the throne. The mantra is simple: worship results, not approval. Power shields you when results are undeniable. Accusations, gossip, and moral attacks lose force against the fortress of effectiveness. History shows this truth repeatedly. Leaders who were condemned for immorality often survived because their results outweighed their flaws. Rulers kept power not because they were pure, but because they were effective. Their people and even their enemies tolerated what they despised because the throne remained strong under their command. Morality was debated, but power endured. The throne metaphor captures it perfectly. Imagine a crown so bright that its shine blinds the whispers around it. Advisors may murmur of immorality, critics may hiss of corruption, but the brilliance of results drowns them out. When the kingdom prospers, complaints fade. When the fortress stands unbroken, enemies retreat. Power does not require spotless virtue. It requires undeniable proof of command. The untouchable man is not free from criticism. He is shielded from it because results outweigh every word. Do not mistake this for an excuse to abandon ethics. It is not about rejecting morality. It is about refusing to compete in morality's shallow arena. You must anchor yourself in outcomes that silence doubters. Weak: I hope they see my good intent. Strong: I make them see my results. Weak: I want approval to protect me. Strong: I rely on strength to protect me. These shifts in language clarify your strategy. Power first, image second. If someone challenges you, accusing you of caring too little about what is right, respond with calm strength. I care about what is effective. That does not mean ignoring values, but it means refusing to let them be weapons against your progress. Calm leadership demands clarity. Outcomes determine survival, not applause. Becoming untouchable is not about perfection. It is about building such momentum, such undeniable success, that criticism slides off like arrows against armor. When the results shine, the whispers fade. When the fortress is strong, the siege fails. You must make yourself that fortress. The mantra is simple: results make you untouchable. Machiavelli wrote that in the actions of men, the end justifies the means. This is the crown of results, the final form where all principles converge. You do not rise by arguing about intentions or polishing morality. You rise by ruling yourself first, then commanding the world through outcomes no one can deny. The throne is claimed not with excuses, but with victories. It begins in the mind. As throne, sovereignty is internal before it is external. When your inner court is ruled by clarity, discipline, and steel, no outside force can dethrone you. From that throne, you enter the morning battlefield. At dawn, you either seize momentum or surrender it. Every decisive strike in the first hours is a flag planted on the day, a claim of sovereignty that carries into night. You sharpen your blade in silence, weaponizing stillness while others waste energy shouting their virtue. Your mask of command disarms them, appearing moral, but hiding strategy sharp as iron beneath. You kill weakness with the inner assassin, cutting hesitation, guilt, and fear from your court. You feed the wolf of strength while starving the begging dog of approval. You maneuver on the chessboard of life, caring nothing for sentiment, caring only for position gained. You forge your iron will through ritual, treating results as religion, hammering each day into a sword. You ascend into untouchability, shielded not by purity but by power. All these principles converge into one crown, the crown of results. Look at history. Alexander's empire was not excused because he was moral, but because he was victorious. Napoleon is remembered not for good intentions, but for reshaping Europe through sheer force of will. Bismarck unified a nation not through moral purity, but through calculation that delivered strength. Their flaws are debated, their errors analyzed, but their results stand unbroken on the record. This is the truth. Results endure, morality shifts. Modern empire builders follow the same law. The entrepreneur attacked for greed, but whose innovation transforms lives. The artist accused of immorality, but whose work defines generations. The leader condemned for hypocrisy, but who delivers stability when no one else can. They are remembered for empires built, not debates won. You do not have to agree with them to see the pattern. Power bends perception. Results silence critics. Now picture the cinematic convergence. The warrior ascends the throne, body marked with scars, each scar a memory of battles fought and won. The crown is not gold-handed by applause. It is iron, forged in victories, placed on the head by discipline, silence, strategy, and untouchability. Around him, whispers rise. He is immoral, he is harsh, he is unkind. But the crown shines too brightly. The fortress stands too strong. The whispers dissolve into silence. He is untouchable because his results are undeniable. The final form is not sainthood. It is sovereignty. You ascend not because of how loudly you claimed virtue, but because of how decisively you delivered outcomes. Your throne is carved in stone, your mask intact, your assassin loyal, your wolf fed, your chessboard controlled, your rituals unbroken, your shield untouchable. This is the ruler remembered. This is the warrior crowned. Applause fades, results endure. The cheers of the crowd are loud today and gone tomorrow. But what you build, what you achieve, and what you secure remains carved into stone. Morality shifts with culture, bending like the wind. What one age calls virtue, another condemns as vice. If you tie your worth to applause or moral approval, you stand on unstable ground. But if you root yourself in outcomes, your throne cannot be moved. Machiavelli observed that reputation follows success, not promises. People admire victory more than virtue. They will excuse flaws, overlook immorality, and forget words if the results stand undeniable. Failure, however, is never forgiven, even when cloaked in the best of intentions. That is why you must never compete in morality's shallow arena. Do not waste your strength trying to prove you are good in the eyes of those whose standards change with the season. Compete only where the measure is clear, what you delivered, what you built, what you secured. The throne imagery makes this final truth clear. A ruler who tries to defend himself with words of morality is dragged into endless debates, judged and condemned by standards he cannot control. A ruler who delivers prosperity and victory may still be accused, but his results silence the noise. The fortress he built, the wealth he secured, the ground he conquered, these are shields no accusation can pierce. Your strategy must reflect this. Weak: I want to be liked. Strong: I want to be effective. Weak: I hope they approve. Strong: I will make them respect the results. Weak: I fight for image. Strong: I fight for permanence. The language you use sharpens your focus. Speak in terms of results, and you train yourself to act for outcomes rather than applause. Remember this when confronted. If someone accuses you of being cold, remind them calmly, I value results that last longer than words. This answer is not cruelty, it is sovereignty. It shows that you rule yourself instead of letting the shifting winds of opinion rule you. Close the book on morality contests. They end in exhaustion and defeat. Open the book of results and write your name on its pages with disciplined clarity and victories that speak louder than claims. The mantra is simple. Do not beg to be seen as good. Command by being undeniable. Rule by results.